Hi, everybody. Welcome into the High Noon Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday at high noon-ish, 12-ish, 12:05, 12-ish. We've been doing it every day, Monday through Friday, since 2021. That's right. Saying the quiet part out loud since 2021. All right, let's get the chat room going. Who's in the chat room today? First person in the chat. I haven't seen anybody in the chat. I see that there are people. There's Peter. That's my guy Peter. There's Mike. Mikey D. All right. We'll get people filtered in throughout the course of the show. Leslie's here. Hi, Leslie. Like to say hello in the beginning. Been doing a lot of thinking. About this show. I'm thinking about tinkering with it. Thinking about changing it. Oh, I know. Everybody hates change. I'm not thinking about changing the time or anything like that. I wouldn't disrupt you so thoroughly. I'm just the run order of it, the way what it is. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm trying. I don't know. Should I do more of like a talk radio show? I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. Hi, Jen. Look, it's Jen. It's Byron, Jeff, Joel. All right, now we got him. Everybody's showing up. Appreciate that. I don't know. So I'm monkeying around with some ideas. I'm like, I don't know. It's all so very daunting because I'm thinking about going just with advertisers. I didn't want to go with advertisers. I didn't want, any kind of, well, I'm going to keep quiet about advertisers since now I'm thinking about going with advertisers. I haven't created anything that is advertisable. I don't know. We don't know. But I'm thinking about a lot of different things about the show. So the show might be in flux. I don't want it to go away. As long as it's this easy to do and there's a couple hours a day that I can carve out. I mean, what am I going to do? Be watching TV? Well, honestly, now a job, I'm actively looking for a different job. The freak thing was kind of what all my eggs were in. That didn't work out so well. So if I need to go out and get like a real job, a real human job, not one of these, chase your dream jobs. And by the way, let me just tell you, dreams do not come true, but nightmares sure as fuck do. Yeah, you're damn right. I heard that yesterday and I thought, wow, that's good. I thought that's pretty good. But no, I'm kidding. I'm just being overly dramatic. Things are fine. However, I do want to change up the show. Like, are you liking, subscribing, and doing all that stuff that you're supposed to do? Growth is very important. Gary's here. Hi, Gary. Kevin's here. I think I already said hi to Peter, but it's okay. I say hi to Peter again. I'll say hi to Jen Hernandez twice. Hi, Jen. How are you? All right, let's get this crap out of the way. And then we'll just small talk before we get into the rant. The crap we need to get out of the way is, what is this show? It is a daily exploration of the depths of my consciousness. It is a stream of consciousness delivered in the form of a current events rant. Does that make sense? It probably shouldn't. It barely made sense coming out of my mouth, and I do it. So here's what happens. I compile all morning long some of the biggest stories that are happening in this world today, headlines, hot topics, whatever it is. And I, at 12 o'clock, sign on here and I just start talking about them. I just don't stop. There are no breaks. There are no interruptions. It's 2 hours, sometimes 2 hours plus, of just me streaming about current events, talking about whatever. But we do it in four different quarters. It's not just all just nonsense. There is some form to the chaos. For instance, quarter one, we call that antecedently on this day. That's really just this day in history. You've heard it before. It's not all that mind-bending, but I call it something different, so stay tuned. Quarter two is birthdays. You know what that is. Quarter three is deads. These are people who've died on this day. We look at their life. We decide, well, were they good or bad? And then we sit in judgment, heaven or hell. That's what quarter three is all about. Then quarter four is all the other stuff that we do. Quarter four is all the other stuff. Iced Symphony, what's up? He says, hey, Pugs. That's a Viking name. That's a classy Viking. Cecilia. I love Paul Simon. That's the song, right? Cecilia. I'm sure Cecilia knows. I'm sure people have been singing that song to her forever. Song's got a killer riff. That's a good beat. Hi, Cecilia. Okay, now let's get this out of the way so we can talk about its pledge week here on the show. The show for 3 years has been running by your tips, your gratuities, your kindnesses. That's how we run. That's how we operate. We got to get the money for the next month. So whether or not the show will continue into the rest of this month and into the future depends on us hitting our monthly goals. So we have got 2 more days left in pledge week. It ends on Wednesday. Wednesday is the 8th. Oh, 2 more shows, I should say. We've got 1 more full day. Now, when we started this nonsense yesterday, it was at $293, and I thought there was no way in God's green earth that we're going to raise that number. That is just it's an untenable number. And I was really bad. And then guess what happened? Somebody came in and dropped a bomb yesterday, and today's executive producer is Jameson. Jameson dropped a bomb. Dude, thank you. I mean, thank you. You know what it did? You know what that bomb did? You know what that gesture did to this daily exercise in narcissism, which really, if we boil this down, is what this is. It's just me being a narcissist for a few hours. It changed everything. That bomb that he dropped changed my perspective. I'd also like to thank Mama B for dropping another kind of bomb. Still a bomb. Guys, we are down. We are at, where are we? With 2 shows to go, I think we're at $150. $150. You couldn't even buy nachos with that amount at an F1 race in Miami. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, that's one of the things we're going to get into. We're going to do this day in rich people segment where we talk about rich people get into. We're going to talk about $180 nachos. Anyway, I can't believe $150 is where we're at. And I still don't know if we'll make it. I mean, I would hope that we could. I mean, that doesn't sound like a terrible number. If people chip in, I'll let you know when we get there. But even if we didn't make it on that number, that's just crazy. We didn't make it again, but that's the kind of boss I am. I'm like, if I was your boss, I'd be like, oh, you were late again? Oh, that's okay. Just don't be late. I'd be that guy. I'm that guy. So even if we don't hit our goals. Wow. I mean, I just can't believe that with 2 shows left, we're there. So if you want to help us get there, today's executive producer is Jameson. Thank you so much, Jameson. That was a kind gesture. And thank you to everybody else. Thank you. Who do we thank? We thank Christina. We thank William. We thank Peter. We thank Leslie. We thank Jameson. There's more. I know there's more. I know we're just flat out going to thank Jen and April and Jeff and all the people who always help. Let's see. But these are the people that have helped during Pledge Week. These are the Pledge Week stars, if you will. Let's try and get you all these names again. Hold on. What's going on with April? April says, hey, y'all, waiting at the urgent care with my crony kid. Waiting to be seen. Should be an easy visit. Hope you have a good show. I'll be listening later. Oh, yeah. We talked about, I was talking about how the only pop music I know now is in pharmaceutical commercials, and how I had that song, Nothing is Everything. Whoa, whoa. The Sky Rizzy commercial that we hear everywhere. And I liked the song, but I had no idea. I didn't know what the disease was, because the depictions in the commercial, they look like fun people. They look like people that would be a step up from the people that I'm, currently running with. Not that there's anything wrong with the people I'm currently running with, but point taken. They look like a fun bunch of people. And I didn't know what disease they had. And then I learned it was Crohn's disease. And then April told us that her and a bunch of people in her family have Crohn's disease. I still don't know what it is. I just know that it's got a very uplifting commercial with a cool pop song. And I don't want it. I don't want it in April. So keep a good thought for April as she goes through the machinations of living with, but for the grace of God. We all live with something. We all not to equate it, but we all do live with something. I got a buddy who's got a constant limp because he had hip cancer or something when he was younger. And so now one leg is longer than the other. So he kind of walks funny. That sucks. He's like, that ain't so bad. I got depression. That's a thing. That's that's a thing that some people are like, no, it's not. But yeah, it is. Anyway, best to April. Thanks for bringing the show down, April. Crony kids. I love it. See, that's fun. People will be like, oh, I'm appalled. No, when you have something, when you actually live with something, when you go through the hell that is being, having that cross to bear, if you will, when that's your reality, you don't play the bullshit games. It's why, I have a friend who, I told you about this kid growing up. He had one dead arm. His arm was dead. He was the little brother of a girl that was dating my friend. So she would always bring her little brother, who was like 2 grades younger than us, to, out with us because she was hot and she could get away with that. But he was awesome. His name was Tim. And he the truth is that when he was born, he had a stroke or something. And half of, anyway, his arm didn't work. That dude lived with that every single day. And when we would go to parties and stuff with him, and I would hear him talking to girls, because he was a very handsome man. I would see him talking to girls. And every time he had a different story as to what happened to his arm, because he had fun with it, because it was his reality. If you can't have fun with your reality and make fun of it and actually just accept it, then, you're living in the darkness. That's why I always ask someone in a wheelchair, what happened? If I'm hanging out with somebody and they roll up in a wheelchair, one of my first questions is going to be, what happened? Because they want to talk about it, because it's like real important to them. And it's not, we don't want to talk about it because it's awkward, because we're like, oh my God, that is terrible. Like, they don't want our pity and our charity, our emotional pity. No. So what happened? Oh man, did that hurt? You get into these questions with these people. They like it. April. In the hospital or in the ER. Where's just a visit, right? I think I got it from, it was with her crony kids. That's funny. All right, there you go, folks. That's it. We got the Pledge Week stuff out of the way, right? We got that all out of the way. $150. If we could raise that by end of show tomorrow. Oh my God, I can't believe we made it again. So thank you. If you can pitch in, that would be wonderful. Okay. And thank you to Jameson, man. Jameson just dropping bombs, just getting us closer, just getting us within like a distance where I could have hope, because there was no hope. And then keep hope alive. All right. If you want to help out, Venmo and PayPal Venmo and Cash App are going to be left up there. So guess what I'm doing now? I don't know how I ended up doing this, guys. I don't know what you're watching, but I struggle to find things that I want to watch anymore. I spend most of my time reading now online. And not like, smart people stuff, like reading dumb shit. And when I say reading, I mean falling down YouTube holes and just watching videos for hours at a time. And I think that's a problem. I think YouTube, look, I always say that, if I was on a desert island, they could sit and they said you could have one platform. You have Netflix, you could have Prime, you can have, although Prime would be interesting, because could they send me things on this desert island? Like, could I order things? No, I think it's just viewing. It's just, for the purpose of this, it's just viewing. You're on a desert island. You can just have one thing to watch. I would pick YouTube. Because YouTube's got everything. But it has ruined my kids' attention span. It has ruined my, he doesn't want to watch anything that's more than like 7 minutes. He's like, how long is that? What do you mean, how long is it? It's a Martin Scorsese movie. It's like 2 hours. Come on, man. Yeah. So we started watching something, and I don't know how we started, but he lost interest in it very quickly. And now I am like obsessed with it. You guys watching this Welcome to Wrexham show on FX? It's the Ryan Reynolds and Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think I watched the first couple of episodes when it first aired, like 3 years ago or something now. And I think I was like, yeah, that's good. And I never went back. And I ended up going back. And now that's all I'm watching. Soccer. So now it's like my default is to talk British 4th tier soccer. It's not even Premier League soccer. That's another thing. I think they got it right. I think that the Brits, with their professional sports pyramid, I think they got it right. And this is something that James Parker has been preaching about for years and years. And all the time that I've known him, he has been saying that American sports leagues, and he uses the NFL as an example, should go to that pyramid system. They should. Mr. Popular. Hold on, I gotta make sure. I always gotta make sure the text. Well, okay, it wasn't a text. It was an alert for something else. I need a drink. It's a fresh Coke Zero today. Fresh. It was prepared minutes before we went on the air, which means there's still some carbonation to it. Typically on these days, the Coke Zero that I drink from has been sitting there in putrid melted ice for like 2 hours. But so do you know how the pyramid works over there? You know, like how amazing would that be? Like, let's take the NFL. So like over there's like 1 million soccer teams, like club teams and stuff. Like 1 million, let's say there's 1 million soccer teams. And they're all like treated like they have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Even though like the only league that we know that we pay attention to is the Premier League, which is the very top. But there are like leagues under that, like the National League and like, anyways, all these bunch of, basically this. Imagine you're a team that sucks in the NFL and your punishment is you have to go play like lesser sucky teams for a while. And then some sucky team that dominated the other sucky team league, they get elevated into the Premier. I don't know. I just like it. I've been thinking about that. I think that's the future. I don't know. Barney says he thinks college conferences should work that way. College is different because although maybe colleges are the more pure sort of analogy to that, because college club teams, college sports teams are like the community club team that make up the English football system, which is nuts. All right, anyway, we don't need to get into that. Hi, Adam. Adam had himself a fall down. Adam injured himself. How you doing, Adam? How's the wing? He screwed up his shoulder. He's never going to sleep right again. That's what I told him. That's the kind of Florence Nightingale bullshit I bring. You tell me you're injured, I'm going to tell you how it's going to affect the rest of your night's sleep. You're never going to sleep right again. It's going to hurt forever. Although maybe he's young. No, I don't think he is. I think he's at the perfect age where shit that he breaks now is never going to heal right. It's never going to. Anyway, hope you're feeling better, Adam. Hi, Bill. Bill's here. Good old William. Thank you, William. All right, let's get started. It's the High Noon Rant. Bill's here. We were waiting for Bill to show up. It's the High Noon Rant for the 7th day of May, year of our Lord, 2024. May 7th is the 127th day of the year. Nope, sorry, scratch that. 128. Remember, we had friggin' leap year. Ugh. Excuse me. It is the 128th day of the year. That means there are 238 days remaining until the end of the year. So get those New Year's Eve plans started. Gassy today. Gassy. Not ashamed. Not ashamed to be gassy. It's just a human reflex. And when you speak extemporaneously in the manner in which I do nonstop, you're going to just stir up some stuff. There's going to be nonsense involved. All right, as I said, we like to do this show in 4 quarters. The first quarter is antecedently on this day, so let's get started with that. These are the events that help shape our understanding of this day. Antecedently on this day in 1718, the city of New Orleans is founded by Jean-Baptiste Lemonnier. Oh, are you kidding me? There's like 2 more names. I went all in on Lemonnier. All right, dude's name is Jean-Baptiste Lemonnier de Bienville. I'm going with that, and I'm going to think that's a relatively accurate pronunciation. City of New Orleans, born on this day in 1718. Come on, all my New Orleans weirdos. The only people who love New Orleans are people who never went anywhere else. New Orleans is gross. New Orleans is a great American city. It smells like piss, and it's filled with drunks, and the streets are filthy. The food is burnt. The music is noise. What about New Orleans am I missing? Good Lord. Now, I know it seems completely random for me to have this opinion of New Orleans. I've been to plenty of other places. Hell, I've been to Gary, Indiana. I'd rather go to Gary. No, I wouldn't. But, New Orleans, as far as... All right, so New Orleans isn't as bad as I just made it out to be. But people are like, it's the greatest place to travel. No, it's not. It's not even on my top 50 greatest places to travel to. The food is burnt. It's I go for the food. I go for the blackened. You mean burnt? No, I mean blackened. You mean burnt? You mean burnt. They're burning the food and they're upcharging you for it because you're an idiot. The noise, the music, everywhere. You're kidding me. You have a choice to hold your party in New Orleans or Vegas, and you chose New Orleans? Happy birthday, New Orleans. On this day in 1718, it was founded. 1895 on this day in St. Petersburg, Russia, not Florida. I almost said Florida. Russian scientist. Oh, this is the radio story. Russian scientist Alexander Stepanovich Popov demonstrates to the Russian Physical and Chemical Society his new invention, the Popov lightning detector, a primitive radio receiver. In some parts of the former Soviet Union and around the world, this anniversary on this day is celebrated as Radio Day. That's right. That's right. Radio Day. We didn't. I don't know what the problem was with that, but he didn't get credit for it. Marconi somehow got credit, and even Marconi didn't get full credit. I think there was like 50 guys who invented different things having to do with radio, and then maybe Marconi was the guy who took all of the different things invented by other people, put them in a box, and sold them at Sears. I think maybe that was it. Okay, moving on. Antecedently on this day in 1945, let's see here. Oh, this is the day that the Germans signed and said, okay, we're done fighting. We're done. Hitler's dead. He got married, and then he killed himself and his wife, his bride. So this was the day in 1945. What do they call it? I'm never going to pronounce this bullshit. Look at this. It's called General I'm just going to go with General Field Marshal William Keitel. Signs. Trust me, that's not how it's written. It says here that he signs an unconditional surrender at Reims in France. You could say he got reamed in Reims. This ended Germans' participation in World War II. There you go. Took effect the next day. So like he signed it, and then I guess it had to travel somewhere, and someone had to go, yep, we got it. We agree. That was it. That's today, the Germans. Today's German Surrender Day. German Surrender Day. Make sure and rub it into any of your German ethnic friends. On this day, antecedently in 1946, Tokyo Telecommunications Engineering is founded. 1946, Tokyo Telecommunications Engineering is founded on this day. You know, they changed their name to something we know. Sony is founded on this day. Antecedently on this day in the year 2000, Vladimir Putin is inaugurated as president of Russia. And he's still there today because that's how it should be done. All right, that's going to do it, folks. That ends antecedently on this day. Let's do some birthdays. Q2 in full effect. They say it's their birthday. Born on this day in 1901. Here's a guy who was your grandparents' favorite actor, maybe. I don't know. He hasn't stood the test of time. He is a guy who was like the biggest star. He was like the guy. He was, well, I mean, there were a couple of guys, let's be honest, but he was one of them. He was like A-list plus, untouchable. Best interview you could get in 1952. And I don't think time has remembered him. And I'll give you an example. My 14, soon to be 15-year-old son knows who Jimmy Stewart is. You know, he knows who Jimmy Stewart is because he knows It's a Wonderful Life. My kid doesn't have a clue who birthday boy Gary Cooper is. Gary Cooper celebrating a birthday. He was the biggest movie star. I don't think anybody remembers him because he doesn't have a movie. Happy birthday, Gary Cooper. Born on this day in 1901. Born on this day in 1933. Here's another guy that time has kind of forgotten. And I can't really blame it because it's before my time as well. But whenever people talk about the GOAT, the best quarterback of all time, before like 1990, and I'd say before 2000. Yeah, before 2000, when you talked about the GOAT, the greatest quarterback of all time, maybe it was because Montana was being offered, right? Because he was, oh, Montana, he's the GOAT. And then somebody would go, hey, it's not better than Johnny Unitas. Johnny U. Like the first superstar quarterback in the NFL out of Baltimore, Johnny Unitas. And I just don't think that he's remembered. And here's why. It's not necessarily just because we don't remember the past. It's because I think he threw the ball like 3 times a game. You know, they didn't really pass as much as we're used to now. So his numbers aren't as great, but he was Johnny U. Johnny Unitas, born on this day, 1933, American football player. Born on this day in 1968, Tracy Lords. Tracy Lords is an American pop culture phenomenon. She was a porn star. She was a porn star who was doing porn at a time when I'm fascinated by the history of porn, how porn went from something that people visited in back alley shops, you know, and had to go down a flight of steps and then step over puddles of God knows what kind of fluid and walk into some skeevy bookstore under the city. And you go and, you know, whatever, that was porn. Or maybe somebody's like this might be too specific. Maybe somebody had a stepdad who was into some real weird, explicit porno stuff, and you found some magazines in a garage. That was it. That was your exposure to pornography. And then videotapes came around, and then all of a sudden there were videotapes, and these local video stores had these little closet rooms that you could go into and see your gym coach, and that would be awkward. Hey, coach, you like large-breasted black women, do you? Yeah, it's just weird, but it became more normalized. Then with digital delivery, then with the internet, oh my God, porn exploded. So anyway, Tracy Lords, she was around at the time of the VHS explosion. She became one of the very big early stars of VHS porno. And after about a year and a half of, you know, every like pervy guy in America being, you see that Tracy Lords? It was revealed that she was only 16. And everyone was watching child porn by letter of the law. Yeah, so that's what Tracy Lords was. Tracy Lords is having a birthday today. She was a porn star. She was an underage porn star in an era where I imagine those I bet there's a lot of underage girls doing porn back then. I can't imagine that there's not a whole bunch of underage girls doing porn now. I mean, I just don't know how porn is everywhere. I just don't know. Anyway, Tracy Lords, she got famous for it. And then what did she do once she turned 18? Why, she kept doing porn. She kept doing legal porn. And then her sales skyrocketed because it's just so weird. We used to be oddly forgiving of, like, you know, child sex exploitation and all that kind of stuff. Like the people who put her at 16 in movies, I don't think anything happened to them. Not the kind of thing that would happen in today's world, you know, because we're way more. We recognize that that's probably a more important thing than we were really willing to go. We weren't really willing to go to the mats against everybody who we found out was a pervert in the 1980s, because as we found out, or slowly, and we know now, everyone is a bit of a perversion to them. Except me. That's my perversion. My perversion is that I'm just like not really into sex. I don't really think it's overrated. I had a lot of it. Trust me, I'm fine. We're good. If I meet sites, it'd be nice. But Tracy Lords, I don't know. Is she hot? Let's see what Tracy Lords looks like now, shall we? Let's check her out. Tracy Lords today. All right. By the way, you know who she's named after? Tracy Lords is not her real name. Okay, let's check her out. Tracy Lords is the character that Katharine Hepburn played in the Philadelphia Story. Tracy Lords was a very high society and prim and proper girl, which is why Tracy Lords, the porn star, took that name. Because, you know, get it? It's like, look, I'm not prim and proper at all. I'm a dirty girl. That's the dog. Can you hear the dog? She's having a bad dream. She's having a nightmare. All right, let's check out Tracy Lords on her birthday. See what she looks like. She's 56 today. Boom. This is her in 2020. So it's 4 years ago. That's not bad. It's not bad. If this is 56-year-old Tracy Lords, she looks so mean though, man, doesn't she? She's got that porn star look from the 80s that says, I'm not really 100% willingly doing this. You know, that face looks like, fine, fine, I'll do the scene one last time. Like, that's not like today's porn stars. There she is, Tracy Lords. Yeah, she's a good-looking woman. She's a good-looking woman. What does she look like as a... Now I don't even want to look. How do I even look for Tracy Lords back in the 80s? Underage Tracy Lords. I don't want that on my Google history. There she is. All right, there you have it. Tracy Lords. She looks very angry. Very angry woman. Happy birthday to her. Bill Folk says Rob Lowe got away with it. Yeah, he did. He sure did. I remember that Rob Lowe video. But the Rob Lowe video that I saw did not have him actually... Oh, wait, no, I'm mixing it with the Vince Neil video. There's a video I was confusing it with. There's a video of Vince Neil having sex with some skanky porn star on what looks like a cave on the set of Gilligan's Island. It's a very weird video that's out there. And it was out there. Anyway, moving on. Happy birthday, Tracy Lords, born on this day in 1968. Born on this day in 1969, Eagle Eye Cherry. He's a Swedish singer-songwriter. You might remember him from Save Tonight. Something. I don't know. I just know that was his song, Save Tonight. Here's why he's listed. Because although he's a one-hit wonder here on these shores, he's actually a very popular European performer. He and his sister started out, his sister is also a one-hit wonder here in America. His sister, Eagle Eye Cherry's sister, is Swedish-American singer Nena Cherry. Remember Nena Cherry? What did she do? Buffalo Stance? Buffalo Stance. That was like a hit for like 6 weeks back in like 1988. I don't know, maybe earlier. But yeah, so Nena Cherry and Eagle Eye Cherry are brother and sister, and they both have one hits here in America, but they have careers elsewhere because there is other places in the world. But they are the children of Miles. I think he's a Miles Davis collaborator. Don Cherry. Don Cherry, who's a very, very famous like jazz trumpeter or something. So there weren't a lot of choices for birthdays today. Seriously. That's it. Yesterday, there was only like a couple. There was like 1 or 2 deads. Today, not a lot of great birthdays. Happy birthday. Born on this day, 1969, Eagle Eye Cherry. We're going to end it there because although there's a bunch of NBA players and football players, why bother? Let's do the deads. Let's move on to quarter 3. These are the dead people. These are people who've died on this day. We're going to take a look at their life's resume, and we're going to figure out if they belong in heaven or hell. Let's go. First of all, dead on this day in 1898. We're going to preemptively put this son of a bitch in hell because he's a monster. H.H. Holmes. H.H. Holmes is going to hell. Who's H.H. Holmes? So H.H. Holmes is like, I used to be really into serial killers, and I was probably because I was raised in Chicago, and we pride ourselves on we are apex. Chicago is apex serial killer country. Whether it's John Wayne Gacy, setting the bar with that. Of course, Chicago was Jeffrey Dahmer's preferred hunting grounds. Richard Speck killed a bunch of nurses. We've Ed Gein. It's just across the border in Wisconsin. He probably spent time in Chicago. We like our serial killers in Chicago. So H.H. Holmes is probably the first known serial killer in Chicago. He was there's a book written about him a couple of years ago called Devil in the White City. Devil in the White City. It was a book about, here's what he did. This is his true story. And by the way, Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio have been working on a screenplay of the book, Devil in the White City, for years and years and years. And I so want to see the movie because the book is so great. It is a great book, Devil in the White City. It's the story of H.H. Holmes. And if you watch A&E, there's been like a half a dozen like A&E specials on this dude since the book came out like 20 years ago. But anyway, here's what he did. He was a dentist, and he bought this big old Victorian house in Chicago, and he built it, and it was really spectacular looking and super cool. And he kind of ingratiated himself into like fine society as this fine society dentist. And then when the World's Fair came, the 1890 whatever something World's Fair in Chicago was like a big deal. He started murdering people at his house. He would lure them back to his house, and he'd murder them. Now here, he didn't just murder them in the like living room. He had designed this entire house as a torture house. It was just like the most sick. And he's in hell, is my point. H.H. Holmes. You want to learn more about him? You just Google him, seriously. Or read Devil in the White City. It's a good book. Dead on this day in 1988. This one upset me. I didn't know he was dead. And I read that he was dead today, and I went, sometimes that happens. Sometimes we do. I'm putting the dead list together, and I come across somebody who I didn't know was dead, and they're dead, and then that makes me feel sad, and it's like they just died for me in that moment, and that's what happened with Eddie Rabbit. Eddie Rabbit. Oh, I love a rainy night. Windshield wipers slapping out a tempo. Rainy night, rainy night, rain. I love me some Eddie Rabbit. I don't know the song, but I remember him from TV in the 70s, and I didn't know he was dead. He died a long time ago. He died before the millennium. He died in 1998, Eddie Rabbit. I was wondering why I hadn't been seeing much Eddie Rabbit around these past 20 years, and that's why. Eddie Rabbit, we're putting him in heaven. Here's a windshield wiper, slapping out a temp. Dead on this day in 2011. A guy who there wasn't many choices again today in the dead, so I had to put this guy in because I'd heard his name before, and I know that he was famous. So Sevi Ballesteros. Sevi Ballesteros died on this day in 2011. He's a golfer. 2011. He's a golfer. Sevi Ballesteros. He's a golfer. Here's the thing. He's a golfer. So I go, yeah, he's probably a son of a bitch and rich kid golfer, but he's Mexican, so maybe he's hard scrabble. And I imagine, or is he Spanish? You know what I mean? My Mexican friends know what I mean. Is he Spanish or is he Mexican? Let's see. Hold on. Let's click on Sevi Ballesteros. This is going to determine whether or not he goes to heaven or hell. If he's Mexican, he goes to heaven. If he's Spanish, he goes to hell. He's Spanish. He's going to hell. Colonizer golfer. Are you kidding me? Here I thought you could have been the Tiger Woods of, the Mexican American, but no, Sevi Ballesteros going to hell. That's going to do it. That's quarters 1, 2, and 3 on today's show. Jameson is here, and he's just in time. Jameson is today's executive producer. Jameson dropped a bomb. We appreciate that. Thank you. He says, hey, everyone, I'm late today, but I better late than pregnant. Oh, I'll give Jameson all the fake laughter. Jameson dropped a bomb. Jameson got us into reach. So today he is the executive producer of the show. We are $150 away from making this month's goal. We have until the end of the show tomorrow to make that happen. Otherwise, the dog doesn't get fed. There you go. How's that? The dog does not get fed this month. That's something we got to cut. We got to cut money somewhere. We ain't gonna cut it from my nicotine boxes. Dog, time to hunt in the alley like a real dog. $150. That's all we need. That's the number, and I don't know that we'll get there, but I certainly feel optimistic, more optimistic than before Jameson dropped his bomb. So thank you to Jameson. All right, let's get started. Barney's here. Barney's been here. Barney says, I think you might be singing 2 different songs. Probably. Oh, I love a rainy night. In the windshield wiper song, they're not the same song. They should be. Oh, I love a rainy night. Windshield wipers slapping out a temper. Nah, that's the same song. I choose to live in a universe where that is the same song. Oh, I'm thirsty. I'm really thirsty. All right, let's get started with today's hot topics. Quarter 4. This is where we discuss all the things that are happening in the world. We got a bunch of stuff we got to get through. A bunch of big stuff. I'm trying to balance it today. There's a lot of big stuff. There's a lot of big, like, global and national, like, bummer stuff that I kind of want to rant on, but also I want to try and be interesting. And I don't know that my rants on my take on the Israeli-Palestinian situation is all that interesting, but here we go. These fuck nuts, these people, they can't get their shit together on either side of it. So yesterday, as we signed on, I was talking about, hey, looks like Hamas has accepted a peace agreement. Then what do we find out? Here's what we know now. Hamas agreed. Okay, let's set the scene. So Egypt and Qatar have been brokering peace talks between Palestine and Israel. Now, in the middle of all that, doing what role we don't know, has been Anthony Blinken. He is the Secretary of State of the United States. But on paper, this is Qatar and Egypt brokering this deal. But Blinken's there. Probably going up the works, but whatever. So Israel, during these talks, has been building up ground forces on the southern entrance to Gaza, okay? Around a city named Rafah, where they believe the Israelis, that's where all of the Hamas leadership is located now. So they are about ready to go into Rafah while these peace negotiations are happening. So we get to a point, I think it was over the weekend or on Friday, where we were really close to a deal, and it looked like there was a deal to be had. And then all of a sudden, yesterday we learned, breaking, Israeli troops have moved into Rafah and Hamas has agreed to the ceasefire, right? So the whole world then goes, okay, so what's Israel going to do? Are they going to stop with the incursion into the ground forces into Rafah, and are they going to accept a peace deal or what? Well, all night long, Israel was doing their thing. There was no let up in the ground. The ground incursion is in full effect. And then Israel finally addressed the ceasefire that Hamas had agreed to and said they agreed to something that wasn't anything that we ever agreed to. So basically, what it's starting to look like now was that Hamas saw that Israel was about to come into Rafah. So they put out on the world stage, on the global stage, that they were interested in peace and that they had accepted a peace deal. What does that do? That puts the onus on Israel to look like the ones who rejected the peace deal, when in fact, there was never any peace deal. Hamas just said there was. That's how screwed up everything is over there. This is nuts. They ain't fixing anything. No hostages are being released. The 2 American hostages who I talked about last week, they ain't even in the conversation, best I can tell. So now we'll see what happens. What are we looking? Oh, it's the Sky Rizzy commercial. Nothing is everything. Oh. Sorry, I like that commercial. That's nothing is everything. I don't even think I like that song. I just think that commercial is every other commercial. And now I've been, Stockholm syndrome. All right. Speaking of, so the Israeli situation is just like a really weird, people agreeing to peace deals that were never offered. And, if you remember, like a couple of weeks ago, there was a peace deal and Israel agreed to it. At that time, Israel was first through the door and they said, yeah, we agree to this peace deal. And it went to Hamas, and Hamas was like, well, you agreed to that peace deal, but the peace deal is that you keep military action ongoing and we have to lay down our weapons. That's what you just agreed to, and we don't agree to that. See, I mean, it's good job, Blinken. I don't know what Blinken's role is in this whole thing, but this is embarrassing and it's stupid, and people are dying by 32 or 34,000 Palestinians have been killed. What is it? What 2,000 we suffered in 9/11? That's like what, 10, 12 times? I don't. Now you got to make me do math. How many died on October 7th? And my God, I know that this is a dark and grisly way of looking at this, but my God, October 7th was horrible. We saw what Hamas did, but again, 32,000 Palestinian civilians. Don't fuck with the Israelis, man. That's the lesson to be learned, I guess. This is, it doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon after the nonsense of the last 24 hours between Israel and Hamas, who just can't. All right, moving on. Trump trial. Can I just say about the Trump trial? How much it sucks that it is not on TV. If this damn thing was on television, we wouldn't be doing a show right now. I'd be watching it. You'd all be watching it. There'd be no reason. Everybody in the country would be watching this trial. Hell, everybody in the globe would be watching, in the globe. People, even Middle Earthers would be watching this. Why can't we have this on camera? It's Stormy Daniels Day. Stormy Daniels is on the stand today. That's what we all pay to see. I mean, sure, it would have been nice to have the opening act of Hope Hicks, just to see what she's wearing. She looks fantastic. But Stormy Daniels, this is the home run, and it's going on right now. And she's talking about all kinds of stuff, sex, Sex with Trump. She's getting detailed. Although not so detailed, because at some point the Trump team, they were like, what does this have to do with? And they did a sidebar. All right, I actually, no, they got rid of the jury. Yeah, that's what it was. Or whatever. They got rid of whatever it was. They cleared the courtroom, and then they had a conversation about how much detail you could go into in describing what happened in the hotel room. Because Stormy's up there going, yeah, I'm in the hotel room, and then he shows up, and she's giving details. Like, one thing they agreed to not mention is his genitalia, which is right now in the open court record that there was some concern on the part of Trump's team that they would openly discuss his penis. And the prosecution has decided not to discuss his penis. So Stormy can't talk about his penis that she's talked about on a whole bunch of TV shows and stuff. But that's like the humiliation that he's trying to avoid. That's his concern, not anything else, not, but his concern is that she's going to say that he's got a mushroom-shaped penis, which apparently really bothers him. Anyway, this needs to be on TV. And by the way, here's the other thing that burns my ass on this whole thing. I just learned, I thought it was a foregone conclusion. I just learned that he still doesn't even admit that he banged her. He's like, I didn't cheat on Melania when she was pregnant. He is like staying firm on that. I thought for years and years that it was just settled science that, yeah, he fucked her. Yeah, of course he did. Look at him. He's a porn star. She was hot back then. And she was, but she was kind of skanky because she was like skanky hot. Let's put it that way. She was definitely the kind of hot that you could see a rich guy at a golf outing after a big steak dinner going, I'm going to get this bimbo up to my room. You can totally buy that. I know those people. I've seen those things. I mean, I don't know him. He's a little bit. I live in Highland Park is my point. I've seen the way these husbands, these dads actually behave. Maybe that's the podcast I had to do. Let's tear down some venerable families here. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to be shot and killed because these are the people who shoot and kill you. Oh my God, that's another one. That's another one for James Parker. James Parker, WBAP Afternoons. James Parker has this concept, and I love it. It's that the super rich dudes and super poor dudes have a lot in common. It's like rich man, poor man. That's another one. Both will kill you with a gun. Super rich guys will kill you with a gun, and so will super poor guys. Anyway, I didn't even know that was a thing, that he was still denying that he had sex with her. And then I was reminded of what Mitt Romney said, which is, you don't pay anybody $130 not to have sex with you. I'm like, yeah. And does Trump seem like the kind of dude who, if it wasn't true, would pay? No. No, what is he, Jerry Jones? Jerry Jones with his, well, nothing happened to those cheerleaders because the Cowboys run a good, God-fearing Christian organization. Those girls were safe every moment of their employ here with the Dallas Cowboys. However, I'm going to pay them each $5 million just because I feel so bad about what they think they went through. That's why Jerry Jones was so benevolent in that moment. Come on, Trump banged her. That's infuriating about this, that he paid her. Michael Cohen brokered it. Michael Cohen went to prison for it. And the other thing that I love how Cohen is really angry that he never got paid back. That Cohen stiffed him or that Trump stiffed him. I don't know. This should be on TV is my point. And it's not. Oh my God, if it was on TV, we need to radically change. You know what? The people, the public, we the people. We deserve to watch this stuff. We, the people, deserve to see our justice system. There should be taxpayer dollars. That's what we should do. There should be a channel. There should be a court channel so that we, the people, that'll never work. You know why? Because we'll only watch it once every 20 years when there's an O.J. Simpson trial, a Johnny Amber Heard trial, or a Trump trial. We won't be watching it all the time. You know how I know this? Because that's how court TV fails. Court TV? Oh, yeah. It was big during the OJ trial and then absolutely non-existent for 30 years after it. Now it's gone. Pour a little something out for Nancy Grace. Wasn't she on Court TV? I think she was. Anyway, nobody watches that shit, but there should be a federal stream. We, the people, need to be able to watch the ones we want to watch. And sure, we won't watch the important ones. We'll watch the dumb ones. We'll watch the ones with celebrities and sex involved. But so what? We, the people, we get what we want. We the people. That's the problem. I'm saying all this with tongue firmly in cheek. We the people are the ones who need to be better, if you ask me. Tornadoes. Let's talk about tornadoes, because tornadoes came ripping through. I don't know. Do they all start in Texas? It seems like this tornado season, every one of these bad tornado outbreaks that has like wreaked destruction across these innocent people in rural Midwestern America, they all started here in Texas. They all get started somewhere out near El Paso, and then they start whipping through. Last night there was a pretty bad one in Oklahoma. Let me see what the latest on this is. I think actually yesterday in the evening, it was like 17 tornadoes reported. And I know this because I was watching tornado coverage. Oh my God. Do you guys do this? Are you guys dorks like I am? Holy shit. If there's like tornado outbreaks somewhere in America, go to YouTube and find one of them tornado chasing channels. They're crazy good. This is the way weather should be. Get rid of the dude in the suit at 10:15 who comes on and goes, well, that's going to be badly said. He stands in front of the green screen. Screw that guy. Go live to some fucking nut job who's in a room filled with computers and he's watching people ride through storms and you can pull up different. Come on. That's weather. That's weather. I don't know how you do that on the local level, though. I don't know. I think on the local level, maybe we just want to know what it's going to be tomorrow. Bring an umbrella. 17 tornadoes have been reported in 7 states yesterday, all across the plains. At least 17 tornadoes were reported in 7 states overnight into Tuesday morning. Oh, and that's the Oklahoma one. That's the nightmare tornado. You guys know the nightmare tornado is the one that comes at 3:45 in the morning. Oh, God. Oh, geez. At least 17 tornadoes were reported in 7 states overnight. The twisters were reported in Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, and South Dakota. Oklahoma. I know they all seem to start in Texas, but they all have a cup of coffee in Oklahoma before they go and, rip some shit up in Kansas. Oklahoma's a bad one. Bad state for, you know why? Because Oklahoma's an ashtray. Oh, you think I got hot takes on New Orleans from earlier today? Oh, my God. I could go off on Oklahoma. That's a goddamn ashtray. You could drive through Oklahoma. Well, actually, the southern part of Oklahoma is actually kind of nice. And I don't know. Maybe there's other parts of Oklahomas that are Oklahomas. Maybe there are other Oklahomas that are nice. But the one I drive through is just like an ashtray. It's just a bleh. Moving on. One of the hardest hit areas of the storm was in Barnesdale, Oklahoma, just north of Tulsa. 1 person was killed and several injured. There was significant damage to much of the small town, including several homes that were completely leveled. A nursing home was also hit in Barnesdale, and it was completely destroyed. It says we need a lot of, but nobody died. That's good. That's good. Only 1 person died. Only 1 person, I say. Approximately 25 people were rescued following an initial search. Anyway, tornadoes. This is a crazy tornado season. And there's more tornadoes coming today. Only today, I think it's going to be in like Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin. I was just looking at a map there. I hate tornadoes. And again, I'm in Texas, and there's no basements here. This is where they all start, and yet we don't have basements. And I understand that it has to do with the ground and the ground not being able to support a kind of underground structure that you may find in more sturdy landed parts of America, like the great American Midwest. Basements. I miss basements. Basements are good. Moving on. We got a U.S. soldier who's been taken hostage. And yeah, I'm calling him a hostage because he's not an actual criminal. He's been placed under arrest in Russia, which I almost just called the Soviet Union, and why not? U.S. soldier has been arrested in Russia. He was visiting a woman that he was romantic with. Now, here's the thing. So he's a U.S. soldier, and he's in South Korea. And he meets a chick. And he's like, hey, kind of hot. This chick lives in a place called Vladivostok. All right, this chick, Vladivostok. Vladivostok is a part of Russia. Do you guys know this? Are you guys about to learn something? Because I learned this morning. I didn't know this. But you know how we here in America, we've got like these islands all over the place? And like some of them are like American islands, like Samoa or Midway or, all these places. Like there's atolls that are like U.S. property, that whole thing. Do you know Russia has the same thing? I didn't know that. Russia has like an island port nation right there called Vladivostok. And I just assumed that was like up in the frozen part of Russia, but it's not. Apparently, it's right there. It's on the border of North Korea and China. Vladivostok. Staff Sergeant Gordon Black was supposed to be returning home to Fort Cavazos in Texas after completing his deployment at the U.S. military base in South Korea. But instead, he traveled some 400 miles northeast. Only 400 miles. He's in South Korea. He travels 400 miles and he's in Russia. See, that blew my mind. I'm like, wait a second. I have very limited knowledge of the globe and how countries are spaced, but I know that Russia is more than 400 miles. Isn't like Corpus Christi is farther from South Dakota than Russia, or South Korea than Russia is. Because like, we're here in Dallas, so what is Corpus Christi? That's more than 400 miles, isn't it? St. Louis is further from Chicago than an actual Russian state is from South Korea. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I was blown away by that. Staff Sergeant Gordon Black was supposed to be returning home to Fort Cavazos in Texas after completing his deployment. Instead, he traveled 400 miles northeast of the country to Vladivostok, a Pacific port city near the Russian border with China and North Korea. But it's a Russian city. It's part of Russia. It's just not in Russia. It's like they're by China. I don't know. I guess Russia is big. Instead, Black did so without permission from U.S. Army bosses, according to U.S. officials who claimed that he was not traveling on official business. All right, so you get what he did. He was supposed to go home. And he's like, I'm not going to go home. He's like, I'm going to go visit this chick. She lives 400 miles away in this Russian town. I'm going to go visit her. So he goes there and he hooks up with the chick. They say that the Army suggested he had taken a detour. The Army suggested instead of returning to Texas, he had taken a detour to visit a woman that he was romantically involved with. He is believed to have met her while they were both in South Korea. She may even be his girlfriend, according to the soldier's mother, Melody Jones, who pleaded with the Russians, please do not torture my boy. Oh, God, moms, holy crap. Imagine going through that. Imagine your kid is being held by Putin's thugs. It is unclear whether this is the same woman that Black is accused of stealing from. Okay, so he's accused of stealing. That's what it was. He went there to visit this girl in Vladivostok, U.S. Army soldier, hooking up with her. And then somehow something happens. We don't have these details, but he's in handcuffs. He's being charged with theft. Okay? Being theft. He stole something from a woman. Now, we don't know if, this is the woman that he thought was his girlfriend or just a different woman. I don't know, whatever. But bottom line is he's an American soldier and now he's being held by Putin and Russia on what, maybe a honeypot? I mean, but why? What does this guy do? Is it going to turn out that this guy has some like classified clearances or something like that? Like, why would just a regular dude, a regular staff sergeant in South Korea be honeypotted by a Russian chick to lure him only to have him be arrested? I mean, I understand why Putin wants American soldiers. They're bargaining chips. There's a lot of bad stuff happening with Putin right now around the globe. So as many bargaining chips as he can have. I mean, my God, we gave Brittany Griner, we gave up that like oligarch arms dealer for her, like Putin's buddy. Putin's like, yeah, okay. So he took her, he waited around and then he brokered a deal and got his buddy out. He'll do that again. Anyway, I haven't seen this reported very much, but I guess that's because the media doesn't give a shit about this soldier at this moment. But you just wait. As soon as it is expedient for them to promote and exploit the fuck out of this story, they will. So maybe in a couple of weeks, we'll start to hear about the American soldier. But he was taken recently, and ain't nobody talking about it. Moving on. Shooting at Drake's house. Drake. Do you know what's going on with Drake? Drake, I don't know. I could not... Do you know I couldn't name a Drake song? Could not name a Drake song. I shouldn't say that so proudly because that's something that is just a glaring indication that I am not as neck deep in the popular culture as I once was. I have no idea. I know that Drake is a dude. I know that he does a lot of stuff. I know that women like him, right? Isn't he supposed to be a sexy dude? What kind of a singer is he? Is he a rapper? Is he a hey, ha, hip to the, is he a rapper or is he like a baby, woo, I want a baby? Like, what is he? I don't know. He's big. I know he's big. So big that I have no idea what he's primarily famous for. I just know that he's famous for other things. Drake lives in Toronto. I knew that about him. He's a Canadian guy. I think he was on that Degrassi show. Remember Degrassi? Oh my God, I can't get distracted. I can do a whole hour on Degrassi. The original Degrassi, not the one that was remade in the 2000s. I think that's the one that starred Drake. The real Degrassi, where we American kids who were the same age as the Degrassi kids, we American kids watch these Degrassi kids and we're like, Canada is fucking madness. These kids are out of their mind. They were so bad. They were so much worse than we were. They're all pregnant. They're like, all right, I didn't know anybody who was pregnant at like 12. Meanwhile, I'm watching Degrassi and like half the class is pregnant. What are they doing up there in Canada? What's the latest? Trump defense moves for mistrial amid Stormy Daniels' testimony. Oh my God, this is some big news. Let me tell you something about these two ladies we're looking at on screen. Who is that? What do we got? Is that that's that I don't know who that guy is. That guy's he's kind of a tool, I think. But the two girls they got up there, we're looking at CNN right behind us. The two girls they got up there, that's Caitlin Collins. Let me tell you something about Caitlin Collins. Nobody wears a pantsuit like Caitlin Collins. She looks great in a pantsuit. Like the Hillary Clinton collection, she can rock that. This chick I hadn't been familiar with. This is Paula Reed. She always looks like she's trying not to piss off her boyfriend who's had one too many drinks. She always got a look on her face like she's always very concerned about how the reaction to what she's about to say is going to be taken by her boyfriend. That's Paula Reed. This is probably important stuff in the Trump trial, but if you want Trump crap, you can go somewhere else. We don't do politics. Although I want this so bad. What are they saying?
Is the overarching strategy. We've said from day one, assert every objection, preserve every single option so this doesn't go your way. If your client is convicted, try to overturn this on appeal through death by 1,000 cuts.
Does he have a point at all on how they remedy that testimony, how they talk about that testimony, where she went into lurid detail? I mean, I was sitting there listening to all of it about her sexual encounter with Donald Trump, including whether or not he used a condom. She said he did not use one. And they're saying that's not relevant.
This needs to be on TV. This needs to be on TV. Trump likes it 30. Look at him. He's a raw dogger with a porn star. Raw dogging with a porn star. That's the man some of you want to put in charge. I mean, how bad can it be right now? We've got Grandpa Joe in charge. Like that's any better. I saw that Kevin Spacey yesterday endorsed RFK Jr. He did. It's not a joke. Kevin Spacey made this big Twitter post about, this is a man of honor and integrity who believed in me when everyone else abandoned me. I'm like, Kevin Spacey, right? The RFK Jr. campaign has got to be really upset with this. They don't want your endorsement, dude. You'd like to keep it quiet that he was still your friend when everybody else thought you were out raping kids. All right, so back to Drake. So there was a shooting at Drake's house. Drake is a pop star. I've established he's super famous, and I don't really know any of his music. But there was a shooting outside of his home in Toronto. Security guard of Drake's was injured. Now, there's some backstory here, or maybe it's not even, maybe it has nothing to do with it at all. But there is some context that needs to be understood. Currently, there is a very big beef going on between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I don't know what it's about. Actually, I do know what it's about because I've seen so many different, this is the shit I know about Drake. I know that he goes to basketball games and he talks shit and then people don't like him. That's what other celebrities don't seem to like Drake very much. I don't know. I don't have a side in the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar beef that is happening, but I know that Kendrick Lamar is calling out pretty publicly Drake's association with P. Diddy and really making some, I'm not even going to say vague, some pretty direct claims that Drake is a pedophile, which doesn't seem judiciously smart. It seems like Drake might be able to bring some charges against him. Recoup some damages if in fact Kendrick Lamar is saying that, but I don't know. That's what it seems. That's what's going on. Kendrick Lamar and Drake are going back and forth. They're beefing. It's a very big beef. It is such a big beef that in a genre of music, hip hop, that is fueled by beef, I've been able to tune out most hip hop beefs. And yet this recent Kendrick Lamar Drake beef is one that I've kind of, because it's just everywhere. It's like omnipresent. Drake's security guard has been injured in a shooting outside the rapper's Toronto home, police say. A security guard for the rapper Drake. Is he a rapper or is he a singer? Well, that's racist because he's black, because he's only half black. Drake's only half black. That's another thing that people tend to take shots at him for, that he's half black. And he's probably more the white than the black. But a security guard for the rapper Drake was injured in a shooting outside Drake's Toronto home overnight. The shooting was reported at about 2 a.m. local time. Inspector Paul Krasuzis, it's got a Polish name. You know what? I have Polish friends. I'm going to try and pronounce this last name. Police Inspector Paul Krasik. It's Krasik. I'm going with Krasik. Paul Krasik with the Toronto Police Services said in a news conference. The security guard, who has not been identified, was hospitalized and remains in serious condition. Krasik said he did not share information about the guard's injuries. The shooting comes amid a rap beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. One of Lamar's tracks features Drake's Toronto home as its cover art. Krasik said police cannot speak to the motive of the shooting at this time. He also said he could not confirm if Drake was home at the time of the shooting, but police said that they were in touch with the rapper's team and that they were cooperating with the investigation. The guard was standing outside Drake's home. The guard was standing outside the home's gates when he was shot. A vehicle was involved in the shooting, but Krasik said he could not yet classify it as a drive-by shooting. Throughout the news conference, Krasik emphasized that information was very limited because the investigation was in its early stages. He said officers would be canvassing the neighborhood to speak to witnesses and were seeking to collect video footage. While police have already collected some video evidence which captures the incident, he said he could not provide descriptions of the vehicle or suspects at the time. Quoting him as saying now, we're dealing with video quality issues. Oh, isn't that always? Why is that? Let me ask. This needs to be addressed. Why is it that every time we kind of need video for some shit, like it's always grainy and it's always really bad? Like it ain't always. But anytime, like, you know, I blow a red light cam or I go through a toll, you get an absolutely crystal clear, perfect picture of my license plate. How is that a thing? How is that? Because what? How is that? How is every security camera in America a piece of shit and every traffic cam in America is just like built by aliens? It's so good. All right, so this Drake-Kendrick Lamar beef, this may or may not be related. I bet it is related. I bet it's some crazy Kendrick Lamar fan who's like, let's go to Drake's house and shoot something, and they shot a security guard. There you go. Developing ... as they say. All right, here's a story local. This one comes to us out of Allen. This was I have friends who do these kinds of things. Well, not this, don't commit the crime, but I have friends who engage in this kind of commerce. And that is that new thing where you sell shit to strangers who either come to your house and stand in your driveway and at the last minute refuse to pay what they agreed to pay. And then you're negotiating with some stranger and it's getting heated in your driveway because you talked 5 minutes on eBay or whatever. I don't know. There's that. And then there's the, yes, I'm selling a diamond wristwatch and I'm going to meet this guy at Starbucks. I'm like, what? Like these stories, they've always been. That's a real story. I had a friend in Chicago who met a guy who was selling a watch and he sold it on eBay and the guy was local and the guy was going to pay cash and he was going to meet him with this watch at this Starbucks. And I was like, dude, what are you, nuts? I go, what's a public place? I go, yeah, it's a public place. So what? Somebody knows that you're going to be walking in there with a $20,000 wristwatch. What, you don't know who this person is. They could be waiting there for you. They could be waiting for you when you pull it, whatever. Anyway, he was fine. He sold his stupid watch. But here's a situation. This one didn't end fine. This was in Allen yesterday, I believe. No, this comes to us from Monday or Sunday. Rolex thief pepper sprays victim in Chase parking lot bank, Allen police say. Police are on the lookout for 2 suspects after an online marketplace meetup resulted in an assault and a theft in Collin County. Allen Police Department said that officers responded to a Chase Bank parking lot in the 800 block of South Allen Heights Drive around 446 after reports of a robbery. So here's what happened. So this dude was selling his watch, a Rolex watch, and he met some guy online, and the guy's like, all right, I'll meet you. I'll buy it. And he came to the place to purchase the watch, which apparently was the parking lot of this bank. This dummy probably thought, well, if you do it in the bank, it's federal crime. No, that's not how it works, but okay. I get what you're saying. So they show up. One guy gets out of his car. The other guy gets out of his car. He's like, show me the watch. And he's like, here's my watch. Here it is. It's 15 grand. You got the cash or whatever. You know, that kind of deal went down. And then the dude who showed up to buy the watch reached into his pocket to ostensibly get the cash and pulled out some pepper spray. And pepper sprayed the dude with the watch. Got it all over his face. Takes the watch from the dude, jumps in the car. They speed off. Here we got a picture of this dude. You want to see the dude who did it? Somehow we got a really good picture of this guy. I just don't understand people willing to, and I also don't, yeah, they're coming over to the house. I go, you're inviting strangers you met online over to your beautiful home. Why? So they can stand in your living room and see all the nice stuff you have and then start inquiring about where you go on vacation and when you're leaving on your next trip. Come on, use your brain. People are out there being bad. All right, so here's the thief. Look at this thief. This is why I thought this story was interesting. I feel like I could kick this dude's ass. Here he is. Here's the thief. Boom, look at him. That's the thief. That's the dude who showed up on the pretense of purchasing the watch and then, pulled out pepper spray and stole the watch, jumped into a speeding car and rolled. He's wearing a suit. He's described being he's described as being between 18 and 20 years old, about 5'9", black hair, weighing about 140 pounds. He wore a black suit jacket, white dress shirt, black pants, rimmed glasses, and black dress shoes. So he dressed up. He looked the part. Like when I used to have to try and go in and buy underage beer, I'd wear a suit. Wear a suit. Don't shave for a couple of days. That's what he did. There, anyway, this happened in Allen. Don't do that, folks. You guys, I'm telling you, I don't know what to tell you. If you do, go heavy. Go heavy with a whole bunch of people. You need at least a crew of 10 guys. They got to stake out the parking lot. They got to be ready to move into position to block a fleeing vehicle. They also have to be willing to have their car take some damage. This is a real process. If you're going to do this, it's going to take some planning. Don't just meet a stranger. Yes, I've got $100 million worth of diamonds and I'd like to sell them to you in the parking lot of the Chase Bank. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. They'll probably catch the guy, I'm sure. Here we go. Let's do this little segment. We do this segment from time to time. We call it This Day in Rich People News. Rich people have a really great life. Rich people do all kinds of fun things that we can't do. So let's highlight it here, if you will. Rich people things rich people do today in Rich People, whatever we want to call this segment. This takes place over the weekend. I guess there was the Miami F1 event. Here's what I've decided on F1. I love F1. I love F1. That's Formula One racing. I love it. But it turns out that I really love the Netflix show better. And here's the thing. Right now we're in the middle of the season. The actual F1 season. And I don't want to watch any F1 races because if I watch them in the actual season, then when the new Netflix series Drive to Survive comes out, which focuses on this season, I'm going to already know all the things that happen. And I decided I like the Netflix series better than the actual sport. I like the Netflix series better than the sport. So I am not watching F1 races. I watched a couple. I watched enough to get the idea. Oh, it's Max Verstappen again. Every finger race. He's going to win every race. So anyway, the races, they came through Miami, excuse me, last weekend. And it was a to-do, boy. Let me tell you. All of the fanciest people. That's what F1 is. F1 is a fancy people sport. It's all like super rich European people. Like the richest of the richest. And also not just European people. I shouldn't just say that. It's also like it's a bunch of like Saudi oil dudes. Like it's all like oil dudes and Chinese billionaires. It's crazy. The money in F1 is unlike any other sport anywhere. So I want to talk to you about what people were willing to pay at the Miami F1 race for just some, some snacks. Just you're at the race. It's going to be a long race. It's like 50-something laps. It's going to go on forever. First of all, how about Patrick Mahomes hanging out? Probably those are other football players too, but they went. They had fun. Let's see here. I want to show you the menu prices. Here you go. This is what I want to show you. These are the menu prices. This is what people were willing to pay at the F1 race. So if you're hungry, you can get from the Bites menu. That's going to be the upper left. Make sure that you're seeing this. Yeah, I don't know how well you can see it. But right here, the Bites menu, these are chilled, which means it's cold. Which means it's just cold. It's in plastic and it's in a refrigerator right now. It's just cold, but it's chilled. And what you can get here is Maine lobster rolls. They're bites. They're just little bites. So it's probably like 2 bites. Maine lobster rolls. $280, ladies and gentlemen. $280. Yellowfin tuna poke, which is just garbage poor people street food. $170, ladies and gentlemen. $170. How about 5 chilled prawns? Prawns are shrimp, right? Well, you can't charge as much if you call them shrimp. If you call them prawns, you can charge $290 for 5 of them. How about a fruit refresher? That's just a bowl of fruit, and it's bad fruit. It's just like cantaloupe and like honeydew melon. It's just like bad fruit. Fruit refresher, $190. Probably like 3 melon balls and maybe 1 strawberry. That's the fruit refresher. Or at the bottom here, right down here, I don't know if you can see this on this edition of This Day in Rich People. I don't know if you can see down here. You can add 1 ounce of caviar to any of those things for simply $400. 5 easy payments for your caviar. That's off the Bites menu. Okay. Now we got some warm shit over here. This is warm. This is, it's warmed. It means it's hot. It means you microwave it. You microwave it, and that's what it is. You got steamed buns. This says Andean barbecue shiitake, pickled vegetables, spicy mayo, and lotus chips. Fuck are lotus chips? It's probably just regular potato chips. That's $120 if that's what you want. And they'll warm that up for you. The F1 platter, that's going to run you $290. The F1 platter is 4 sliders. The F1 platter is 4 sliders with a secret sauce, though. But it says 4 sliders, secret sauce, ribeye quesadilla with chipotle sauce, and crispy chicken tenders, chicken fingers. So it's chicken fingers with no buffalo wings or potato skins. That's going to run you $290. But here's the one everybody's mad about. This down here, right at the bottom, carne asada nachos, $180. These fucking people. Well, and you know what? There's more. But do we got more? We got beer lists. What do you think a beer costs? Well, you can get 5. Well, this is actually not that bad. Okay, so I'm looking at these drinks. This is not that bad. You know why? Because you make it so that they can afford to drink. You make it so they can get drunk, so that they'll get hungry and they'll spend $180 on nachos. So you get 5 Miller Lights for $55. That's $11. That's stupid. Well, it's stupid expensive, but that's ballpark prices, right? That's actually all right. Water. I don't know if you can see water down there. Do you see the water? See, there's no business in the water for them. Water is just to keep you alive. You might need water because you're feeling lightheaded and it's very hot. You're at the Miami F1. But drinking water is not going to get you to spend $180 on nachos. Drinking beer does that. So beer is reasonable. What does a bottle of water get you? Get you $25. $25 for a bottle of water. Are you dying? Do you need some water? Do you have $25? Oh, that's too bad. $25 for water. I'll drink out of the toilet. Thank you, you pompous assholes. How about $1,900 for Dom Perignon Rose, right? Go to the game. That goes well with nachos. Get yourself some Dom Perignon and some nachos. Fucking idiots. I hate the world. Trying to raise, I'm over here trying to raise $150 to keep this show on the air, and these idiots, that won't even get you nachos at an F1 race. Thank you. All right, let's keep looking here. What else do we have? Here's a story. This is from, hold on, let me fix this. There we go. Kevin Turner is a very funny local guy. KT Fun Tweets all over the place. You can find him on YouTube. He does normal streaming stuff. He used to be at the Freak. Kevin's very funny. Morning show guy, Kevin Turner. He used to have kind of a saying that says life comes at you fast. And it does, but death comes even quicker is what I would add to that. And this is a new category. We're going to call it Life Comes At You Fast, because I always tell you about how, we live life making these choices, and all of these choices that we make. I'm talking about incremental choices, like just small ones. Like, should I just scratch my nose? We make choices. And most of these choices that we make, they're involuntary at this point. They're muscle reflex. We do. But they are all choices, right? And I just believe that in the larger scale of things, like, what are you going to do today? Who are you going to talk to? How are you going to be today? How are you going to act today? How are you going to feel today? I believe that all of these choices, I believe that the individual will be benefited if you make the positive choice in all of those opportunities. Should I be upset about this and scream at this person? Or should I just laugh and go, oh my God, I choose not to let this kill me today? So that's just how I live my life. And I do this because life comes at you fast, but death comes even quicker. And any one of us right now, I could be in the middle of explaining this whole thing and I can have an aneurysm go pop in my head and I'll be dead in 15 minutes. That's how fast death comes. I got a story here about a lady. I believe this was is this in Pittsburgh? I mean, my God. Are you ready for this? You ready for this? You ready to honestly think about how fragile life is, how it can all end in a minute, and what is it really all about? Are you really going to ruin this moment because you think it'll save some future moment? No, don't ruin the current moment. Enjoy. Embrace every hug. Respond in kind to every smile. Runaway steel drum from Pittsburgh construction site kills woman. There's this giant, 5-ton steel drum. They're building this new sports complex there at the University of Pittsburgh in downtown Pittsburgh. And it's attached to the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center and all that. And 3 ladies who work in the University of Pittsburgh Psychiatric Department, 3 ladies were walking to lunch when somebody screwed up. And one of these giant 2-ton steel drums broke loose from the construction site. It rolled off the ramp. It rolled off the bed, the flatbed that it was on. And then, just because, comedy is comedy, of course, there was an incline. There was a ramp, a hill that went all the way down to the street. There was a driveway that this truck was at the top of, and the driveway was a steep incline. So now you got this 2-ton steel drum. It rolled off the back of the truck. It bounces a couple of times, and now it's in the driveway heading down, picking up speed. It crashed through a fence. There was a fence at the bottom. That fence wasn't going to stop a 2-ton steel drum that had just picked up speed rolling down the incline of this driveway at this construction site. And just at that moment, these 3 women who were just walking to lunch decided to step forward. One of them was completely plastered. She's dead. She's gone now. Life came at her fast. Death came quicker. The other 2 are fine. But that's how precious life is. You'd be walking down the sidewalk with 2 other people, and in the blink of an eye, one of them is crushed to death by a runaway 2-ton steel drum. A steel drum weighing thousands of pounds somehow rolled out of a construction site in Pittsburgh and eventually struck and killed a woman who was walking on a nearby sidewalk. The accident occurred around 10:40 a.m., 10:40 in the morning. She just got to work. It's morning. It's 10:40. Jesus. The drum was either knocked over or dislodged from a piece of loading equipment, police said. It then rolled several hundred feet as it went downhill through a fence and onto the sidewalk where the woman was walking with coworkers from the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. Oh my God. The woman suffered a head injury. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Her name has not been released and no other pics were reported of the accident, which remains under investigation. Oh my God, you guys. Just walking down the street. That's me sitting here streaming to you, and like a 20-pound chunk of frozen shit falls out of an airplane that's passing overhead, crashes through my roof, and kills me on the live stream. That's how precious life is. Can happen. Can happen any minute. Jesus, my age, I could stand up too quickly and have a massive heart attack and just drop dead. Life comes at you fast, but death comes quicker. That's what I say. All right, here's more rich people stuff. Rich people stuff in the news today. The Met Gala. You know what the Met Gala is? Was that last night? I so don't care about this. I just, some bad potato salad at the Met Gala is what I hope for. I hope that, when they're going through the buffet, they got potato salad at the Met Gala, right? Everybody likes potato salad. Why should they be any different? Anyway, some bad potato salad maybe at the Met Gala where they all just get these like fucking projectile shits and they're all in dresses that don't allow them to take shits, because that's the thing about this Met Gala. It's the big fashion event. People, let's look at some of the fashion, shall we? Let's look at some of the crazy, stupid outfits that some people wore. And then also, let's look at the classy chicks. There's some classy chicks who are like, okay, all right, that's good. And then there's a bunch of sad women who are just like, this is all I have. I need to stand out and be interesting. I never truly understood this level of fashion, the practicality of it. I mean, almost no fashion that I've ever seen on like a Hollywood or a Paris fashion runway or a New York runway, none of it is practical. Like none of it would work in a bar, on a Saturday night. Look at this stupid shit. Look at this. Who's this dummy? Look, oh, you can't even see it. This is the kind of bullshit they do. And all the women try to outdo each other. How is that practical? That's how many people are you going to fit in this ballroom? Because she can't have people within 10 feet of her. Otherwise, they're stepping on her fancy dress. How is that practical? How is she going to now move through? I don't understand what this Met Gala is. How does she walk through the crowd tonight? Or does she just stand in one place? Now, let's see what else we got. Who's this? Okay, this is Zendaya. Right? All right. So again, impractical, this stupid train. She's not the bride, or it's like there's 1,500 brides at this thing that everybody's got to be worrying about stepping on their train. Zendaya is pretty great. This is a stupid hat. Dumb, stupid Zendaya outfit. Who's this guy? Who's this idiot? Bad Bunny. All right, let's look at Bad Bunny. I've heard of this guy. First of all, he's got pants with stripes on him. He looks like he's working. And then what is the hat? See, it's so stupid. I don't know this is dumb. Bad Bunny. Here's what I will say, though. Here's what I will say about that. That jacket is tight. That jacket is pretty badass. The jacket and the gloves, very Bond villain. I like it. Everything else is stupid. I don't want pants with a red stripe on it. Looks like I'm directing traffic or I'm volunteer fireman or something. That's dumb. Don't like it. Who's this? J-Lo? Okay, J-Lo. Now let's look at this. This is a classic beauty right here. J-Lo. Fantastic. Look at her. You know what? So far, I'm giving it up to J-Lo. J-Lo is looking the best. That's classy. That's nice. Look at her hair. She looks like she's at a fancy event. She's got a stupid train again. Stupid mermaid tail. How's that going to work? It's not as bad as some of the other ones, but still, that's going to get caught in some elevator doors. That's going to get caught on shit, the car door. It's going to be hanging out the side of the car door as they drive by. Let's see here. Oh my God. Who is the, okay. All right. So this is Gigi Hadid. This is another person who's extremely famous who I don't know, but look at her. She looks great. There you go. You know what? Gigi Hadid. That's pretty great. She looks pretty great. That's a damn beautiful dress. I will give her credit on that. But again, what the fuck is going on here? What is all of that? That's impractical. Beautiful dress until you get to that stupid train, like a flower, like an upside down flower. Oh, this broad again. I'm gonna deal with her. That's Cardi B. Who's this? Oh, Kendall Jenner. All right, so this is Kendall Jenner. She wearing pants? Yeah, because she's going to move around. Oh, and even she's got the stupid little thing that's going to get caught in the elevator doors. She can't ride escalators. I'll tell her that. Stay off the escalator at the Met Gala. None of these people can ride the escalators at the Met. All right, this is Anna Wintour, something like that. I think she's like a Vogue editor or something. She's like an important fashion lady nobody cares about, but she looks classy old lady, very Hunger Games. This whole thing is very Hunger Games. And Andy Cohen. Okay, so what? Andy Cohen? Really? This is Andy Cohen, gay man, and Sarah Jessica Parker. Has Sarah Jessica Parker entered her Liza Minnelli phase of fame, where now she's just going to go around publicly with gay men? Whatever. Look at it. She looks stupid. Sarah Jessica Parker looks stupid. The Kentucky Derby was Saturday, girl. That's a Kentucky Derby outfit. Stupid hat. That's a Kentucky Derby royal wedding hat. That's what that is. Is there a prince being married? Because that's the only other place I could see. Who's this? This is Lala Anthony. I don't know who Lala Anthony is. Hot. She looks good. Lala Anthony looks good. Look, you got to dress up. You got to dress up a certain way. I think that's fine. You look fine, Lala. Again, though, I don't like, although those are almost more like giant bell bottoms. So that she could probably get around pretty easy like that. It's not as easy as, if it didn't have that, but still. All right, this is that Ashley Graham, isn't that her name? She's the plus size model. She's like the world's most beautiful heavyset girl. Or I don't know how they phrase it. Back in the 80s, be like, oh, she's a hot fat chick. Can't call her that anymore. She's Ashley Graham, and she is beautiful. She's got a body like, well, actually, that's not true. That's what they used to say. Her body is like regular women. This body is not like regular women. This body is freaking banging. This body is like regular women who hang out in the lobbies of NBA player hotels. That's about it. That's the only place that this body sort of fits in. Who's this? Kidman? Is that Kidman? Yeah, Kidman's classy. You gotta like that. Look at Kidman. Kidman always looks like she's the princess who's getting married. She looks good. Who's this? Is this that little Nas X guy? Yeah, okay. So this dude, he looks like little Nas X, whatever. I'm not wearing that. I'm not taking my kid to Dave and Buster's wearing that. So, oh, now who is this? What do we got? What are we dealing with here? This looks Gwendolyn Christie. Who is Gwendolyn Christie? I don't even know who that is. Is it a dude? There's very good chance, right? Look, hey, I'm being open-minded in 2024. Is it a dude? Was Gwendolyn Christie biologically born a woman? Just a question. How dare you ask that question? Okay, can't ask questions. Boy, that ain't fascism. Let's see here. Who's this? Emma Chamberlain. I don't know who Emma Chamberlain is. Nah, that's not a good look, Emma. I'm sorry. She's dressed like a billionaire's goth daughter, like a billionaire's like the one that like just hates everything that dad did and hates everything about how the family made the money, but still is going to totally indulge herself in the benefits of having that money. That's who that is. I don't know who Emma Chamberlain is. Who's this? So far, so good. What is with the beekeeper net? The mosquito. Lana Del Rey. Okay, let's take a look at her. I'm kind of coming around on Lana Del Rey. I didn't know what to make of her, but now I'm like really starting to like her. Like she seems like a cool chick. Lana Del Rey. Okay, so if she could lose the mosquito netting, that would be good. If she could lose the mosquito netting, I think she'd look beautiful. What's going on with her flare at the bottom? Oh, she's got a fucking train back there. Oy, oy, oy. Never thought we'd spend this much time looking at dresses, huh? Who's this? Is this Zendaya again? What do they change outfits? Do they wear multiple outfits? Do they do like... Yeah, she looks, hey, it's Zendaya. What do you want me to say about Zendaya? She's a beautiful young woman. Anne Hathaway. All right. Anne Hathaway showing some butt. That's kind of slutty for Anne Hathaway. I don't want my Anne Hathaway like this. I like my Anne Hathaway being more Jennifer Garner than slutty. Oh, that's Emily Ratajkowski. Okay. I do like my Emily Ratajkowski being slutty. So that's okay. I thought it was Anne Hathaway. It turns out it's Emily Ratajkowski. Let's go back and see her one more time. Not now that I can appreciate it for what it is. I thought it was like the best picture of Anne Hathaway I've seen in years. And it turns out, no, it's that Ratajkowski chick showing butt. Look at her showing butt. I'm just a sex object. I'm a model, and there's a lot of models, but I'm sexy. I do sex stuff. She doesn't. She just kind of suggests that she does. She's dirty. She's a dirty girl. She's a dirty model. She gets naked. Is my point. She gets naked. Michelle Yeoh. Oh, I like her. I like Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, very, very classy. Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh's been hot for 50 years. That's look at her. That's good. Tinfoil. All right, now I'm starting to think, nope, don't like it. Never mind, Michelle Yeoh. You're wearing a tinfoil dress. You look like a Hershey's Kiss. That's what she looks like. She looks like a delicious Hershey's Kiss. She should be wearing a white sash. Well, you know, like you know, Hershey's Kisses have those little. She should be wearing a white sash that says Hershey's. Who else do we got here? Who are these two hottos? It's Elsa Pataki and Chris Hemsworth. All right. This is going to be tough for her because I don't know who she is, but I know who he is. So I'm going to give you my honest reaction. I'm going to look at these two together and I'm going to tell you who's hotter. And there's a good chance it's going to be him because he's a very hot guy. And I'm a straight dude. So, and she's probably not ugly, but that's just how hot he is. Here we go. Who's hotter? He's still hotter. I'm sorry. I don't know what that says about me as a so-called heterosexual man, but he's still hotter. His hotness as being a guy is way more than her hotness of being a girl. And she's a hot girl. Who's this? Who's this? This is Naomi Campbell. Okay, so this is Bowie's widow. Was she married to Bowie when he died? All right, Naomi Campbell. She's awful. You know anything about her? She's the worst. Oh my God. Her Wikipedia page, there is like so much. She is a terrible, terrible person, Naomi Campbell. And yet somehow David Bowie fell in love with her, which makes me think, was David Bowie a terrible person? He might have been. Jessica Biel. All right, let's look at Jessica Biel. Now we're getting into, what is she? She's like C-list. She's definitely not A-list, but man, look at her. She looks great. It's been a long way. First of all, she was never A-list. She was A-list when she was hooked up with Timberlake. Is she still with him? Are they a thing? I don't even know. But really, let's look at her body of work. Wasn't she on that show like One Tree Hill or something? She was like on some show that like nobody watched. And then she hooked up with Timberlake, and then suddenly she's doing slasher movies. Like I saw her in that Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She looked really hot. My point is this. She's not Jessica Chastain, okay? Who's this? Who's this? This is probably someone I should recognize, but they're so done up I don't recognize them. Nope, that's Arena Sherrick. I don't know who that is. Sienna Miller. I don't care about her. Who's this? Oh, Ao Adibo. This is what's her name? Sydney from The Bear. Look at her. I love Sydney from The Bear. She is so funny. She is such a great character. Sydney from The Bear. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She looks nice. Looks very nice, Sydney from The Bear. There you go. Who's this? Dua Lipa. All right, let's check her out. All right, I got to stop doing this, but this is like TikTok. They keep coming. Dua Lipa is dressed like she's in a Guns N' Roses video from 1989. That's what she looks like. Dua Lipa is doing like that's not Met appropriate. Although apparently it is. It's got the shit that's going to get caught in escalators. So apparently it is. Who's this? Who's that? Greta Gerwig, director. All right, she's wearing pants. She's got a haircut that suggests she wears pants. Greta Gerwig, there you go. Who is this? Amanda Seyfried. How is she famous? How do I know who she is? What does she do? I can't think of anything that Amanda Seyfried has ever done. And yet I hear her name like she's A-list. Here we. Oh yeah, okay. Ariana Grande. Let's see her. She's a little angel, and isn't she like 35? So I should feel totally comfortable saying that now. Look at her. Look at those shoulders. She's got sexy shoulders, and then she's just a little angel. She's just beautiful. She's a beautiful 30-something-year-old woman. I hope. I don't know. I hope she's not like, no, she's only 22. I'm like, oh fuck. No, I think she's like 30. I think she's like close to 30. I think she's in her late 20s. I think she's in her maybe mid to late 20s. Zoe Saldana. Okay. Who's this? Do I like her? Kylie Jenner. Ooh. Okay. I think we might have a winner. Kylie Jenner wearing classic Oscar de la Renta. Nope, she's got the stupid train. I thought she didn't have the stupid train. All right, guys, that's going to do it. We've perused the Met Gala where a whole bunch of people wear clothes only one time that costs more than your house. Rob says she's married to Timberlake. Oh, and Kevin says that David Bowie was married to Iman. Oh, forgive me for confusing the two black models from the 80s, because that's exactly what I did. There are only two black models in the 80s. Oh, you don't like me saying that? Am I a racist for saying that? It's true. There are only two black models in the 80s, Iman and Naomi Campbell. That's it. That's it. We were supermodel crazy in the 80s. We were going into like these Eastern European villages and pulling out, 15-year-old daughters and sending them off to Paris to turn them into the next Paulina Poroskova or Melania Trump. We had a whole bunch of them back then. There were no black ones. That's funny. I just confused Iman, who was one of the black. Oh, and Betsy Johnson, right? Betsy Johnson. I think Betsy Johnson was another one. But that's it. I ain't going to think of any more black actresses. I'm just not. Or black models from the 80s. Are there more now? Have we gotten better? Are there are there a whole bunch? I don't think so. My point is, I don't think so. I don't think there's any black supermodels anymore. There's a couple, but I can tell you, I don't know anything about supermodels in the year 2024, but I could name off like half a dozen Jenners and Bella Hadids before we get to one girl that looks more like Naomi Campbell. What's that about? Why aren't fashion models black? Ooh, let's look into that. Racism. That I think might be racism. Although, how could that be racism? I mean, like white dudes have no going into places I don't need to go into. Anyway, that's our coverage of the Met Gala last night. Nobody does coverage of the Met Gala like we do. Rob Barr points out that Jessica Biel is married to Timberlake. See, it's just we got over that. She was like super famous. She's with Justin Timberlake because Justin Timberlake was super famous and she was like from One Tree Hill. Probably not even that show, but there was like a handful of these stupid shows that were on the WB and the CW or whatever that I never watched between like 95 and 2004. And a lot of people watched them, just not enough. Because those networks, you know what I'm saying? My point is this: they weren't like big blockbuster shows, and that's where she came from. One of those. And no, I did not put Party of Five in that group because I actually watched Party of Five. Party of Five was good, but the CW and the WB were just filled with Party of Five knockoffs, shows that were just kind of exactly like it. Wasn't that one show? Was it One Tree? Is One Tree Hill the show I'm thinking of? Isn't that the one that had it was like Christian friendly? It was about a family, and the dad was a preacher or a reverend, one of them cool California reverends. He was like, Mr. Cool Guy. But then in real life, that dude ended up being a child molester. Yeah, Steven something, right? Isn't that the show? Is that the show? I don't know. Let's move on. Let's talk about this. How about Marvin Harrison Jr.? Marvin Harrison Jr. is the son of Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison, Hall of Fame wide receiver in the NFL, of course, played many, many years alongside Peyton Manning with the Indianapolis Colts. Marvin Harrison has a son, Marvin Harrison Jr. He went into the NFL football draft. He was widely regarded as one of, he was regarded as, I think, the top. He was the first non-quarterback to go in the draft this past year, the top wide receiver in the draft, but it was a good wide receiver draft. And I have to tell you, there was talk about my team, the Chicago Bears, making a play to go after him at 4 by utilizing future draft picks, which we have a lot of still from Carolina. Thank you, Carolina. But I didn't want Marvin Harrison Jr. And I didn't want him because I don't like him. Because I don't like Marvin Harrison Jr. and I don't like Malik Neighbors. Those are the 3 best wide receivers in the draft last year were Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr. was almost widely regarded as the top guy. I always pushed back on that because I think that had a lot more to do with his dad and his dad's influence than anything else. But whatever. He's a great wide receiver. He's going to be a great pro if he gets on the field. Why do I say that? Well, we'll get to it. I didn't like Malik Neighbors out of LSU, and I didn't like Marvin Harrison. Why? Because both of them struck me as the kind of wide receiver who maybe not at first, but at some point is going to cause problems. There's going to be you're going to be a distraction. It's going to be this me. The NFL wide receiver is the most unlikable character in all of American sports. I don't care. I look, number 2, I'll tell you what number 2 is. Number 2 is the Major League Baseball starting pitcher. If you are a Major League Baseball starting pitcher, the only bigger asshole in American professional sports than you is an NFL wide receiver. It just struck me that Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors were that category of wide receiver. The Bears took Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze doesn't strike me that way. Rome Odunze strikes me as the more workman-like type. Larry Fitzgerald type, dare I say a DJ Moore type, not look at me, not Michael Irvin, not Odell Beckham Jr. or Michael. I can't, there's too many of them. They're all coming together. No Keyshawn Johnsons, no Ocho Cinco's, whatever. No Stephon Diggs, all of these troublemaking wide receivers. I knew that Marvin Harrison was going to be that. I just looked at him and I went, this guy's going to be trouble. Well, he's already causing trouble. Marvin Harrison went 4th overall to the Arizona Cardinals, and he is refusing to sign his NFL licensing deal. This is not his deal with the Cardinals. We'll get to that, and I imagine that's going to be a nightmare. But here's what he's refusing to sign. So the number 1 selling jersey in the NFL, or actually in all of American sports apparel, it set a record, which is pretty great, is Caleb Williams, who was the number 1 overall pick for the Chicago Bears. His number 18 jersey is atop all of the jersey sales list and has been since the NFL draft. Broke the record set just a couple of days earlier by Caitlin Collins. Caitlin Clark, which one? One CNN and one plays basketball. Point is this. The reason that you can now call the Cowboy store or go to a local store and you can get the new jersey of the new guy they just drafted last week is because that guy has signed a deal. He signed the licensing deal. It's perfunctory. Everybody does it. It's a staple deal for everybody. You're a rookie coming into the league. You need to sign this so that we can sell a jersey that's going to have your name on it. Just sign. Marvin Harrison Jr. will not sign. He's already creating problems. Now, here's the thing, though. This isn't, forgive me, maybe I'm completely out of the loop on this, but I don't remember Marvin Harrison being a problem. I don't remember all of those wide receivers, all those NFL pieces of garbage that I mentioned, hard to deal with, look at me, diva receivers. I didn't mention Marvin Harrison. I don't remember him being that way. Maybe he was to a degree. I don't know. Maybe it was Indianapolis and nobody cared. And maybe Peyton Manning could keep him under control. That's also a good way of dealing with a bad wide receiver, have an even bigger quarterback who can control him. But Marvin Harrison Jr. has refused to sign his licensing deal to allow the Cardinals to sell his jersey. He wants more money. He wants more. He's special. Superstar wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. was selected by the Arizona Cardinals with the number 4 overall pick in the NFL draft last week, but in a somewhat shocking twist, fans are still unable to buy his jersey and might not be able to play him on the upcoming editions of Madden. Now, that you would think would be the thing that would really get him. That the new Madden is going to come out and he's not going to be represented because these players love seeing their Madden guy. Adam Adam says, didn't he shoot a guy or something? And he's talking about Marvin Harrison. And dude, I hadn't even thought of that until you just said it. And now I'm like, yeah, Marvin Harrison did do something like that. There was like outside a club, right? Like he shot at a car and then that story just went away. You might be onto something. Thank you, Adam. All right, so he's refusing to sign the licensing deal that allows the Cardinals to now market him in all of the venues that, franchises in the NFL are allowed to market. The team stores, team apparel, jerseys, and as they said here, Madden and video games and stuff like that. You sign this damn thing and suddenly, you can wear a Cardinals jersey in the Madden game. He's refusing to do it. Marvin Harrison Jr. has yet to sign his NFL Players Association licensing deal. Until that happens, fans will not be able to purchase his jersey and he will not appear in any video games. According to ESPN's Josh Weinfush, the issue all comes down to a deal that Harrison signed with Fanatics, which operates the official NFL shop, ahead of his junior season at Ohio State. All right, so he had already signed a licensing deal because of, what do they call that? Like NIL. You can now make money as a player, and he's Marvin Harrison Jr., so he was going to make a lot of money in college, especially at Ohio State. So he signed a deal before his junior season for $1 million. So with Fangraphs. So he got $1 million as a junior in college. And now they got what, like fatheads of them or something? It says that deal, which Harrison signed before his junior year at Ohio State, is worth more than $1 million. And it's for autographs, signed trading cards, game-worn apparel, and other marketing opportunities, the source said. However, Harrison now is trying to renegotiate the deal for more money and is trying to use the fact that he has not yet signed the group licensing agreement as leverage. I don't know what any of this stuff means, but he's being a problem is my point. This is why we knew we wanted a new shiny receiver for our new shiny quarterback. And we were looking at Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze. And I'm telling you, from day one, I was like, the Odunze guy is the only one who doesn't give me asshole vibes. He's the only one who seems like a good dude. It's also the only one without giant gold teeth. I know. What does that have to, what does fashion have to do with it? Nothing. I don't want to deal with, I don't want to root for people with gold teeth. That's it. There you go. I'm just going to say it. I don't want to root for people with gold teeth. People with gold teeth scare me. They look like they're, I also don't want to root for people with tattoos on their faces. My God, Pugs, you just judge people. I do. I judge someone who decides to put a tattoo on their face. Sorry, I will never change. Now, a lot of times that judgment doesn't necessarily have to be negative. Like, I'll look at you with your tattoo on your face and I'll be like, oh my God, I bet he got molested. Something like that. Like, it's sad. It's sympathy. I'll have sympathy for you, but it's not. I'm not going to vote for you for president. You got a big giant, iron cross on your eye, like you remember a kiss or something. No. All right, Marvin Harrison, he's causing problems. He is. What do we have here? Oh, news. So U.S. News. U.S. News put out a story today. And groundskeepers cranking out some jams, some Tejano and some booming system as they rolled down my neighborhood. All right, I like it. So Newsweek used to be a thing, and then like U.S. News and World Report used to be a thing, and Time Magazine used to be a thing. They were like the 3-month weekly like news magazines that would come out that were important. People gave them credit. U.S. News and World Report isn't a thing anymore. It went out of business, and then the intellectual property, which is the name and the brand, have been purchased, and now people just create, fly-by-night news stories, and they're able to tag it with, this comes from U.S. News. So I don't know the authenticity of this story other than it comes from U.S. News. And U.S. News used to be a name that we could trust. I just don't know who's in charge over there anymore or what it is. So U.S. News ranks the best states in the United States for 2024. The newest edition of the best states ranking project features a repeated number one. U.S. News has been doing this every year since 1966. Look at that, 1966. So this is the latest of them putting together their list of the best states. Now, here's what I'm gonna do. We're not gonna go like number 50. We're not gonna do that. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you the 10 best states in America. Okay, I'm gonna give you all 10 of them. I'll tell you if I agree with them or not. These are the 10 best states in America. Now, what is this based on? I don't know, U.S. News stuff. This is based on whatever, like employment and all of that stuff. Let's start at number 10. The number 10 best state in America is Massachusetts. That's right. High tax, liberal Boston, or whatever. Massachusetts comes in at number 10. It is the 10th best run state in America. Number 9, going to be a shock to a lot of people because I don't think anybody would have them in the top 10. And look at them. They're checking in at number 9, the 9th best state in America, according to U.S. News, based on all kinds of stuff. Florida. Florida, incidentally, is the only southern state in the top 10 ranking. Oh, did that piss you off? Well, it's just a fact. It's just they say it here. Number 8 is Washington, not the city, the state of Washington. What do they got in Washington? Seattle? Seattle don't look so great. Actually, yeah, it does. Seattle does actually kind of look great. Seattle looks cool. Seattle's got big, tall buildings, cool, futuristic, like landmarks, the Space Needle. And then they got mountains and ocean. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Seattle's got everything. It's got rain too, though. A lot of rain. Good coffee. A lot of Teslas. No, maybe not Teslas. No, Tesla's not from there. Who's from there? Microsoft from there? I don't know. Number 8 is Washington. Number 7 is Vermont. Ain't nobody want to go to Vermont. Nobody wants to go there. There's like 30 people living in Vermont. Is that why it got rated so high? Because they reached out to all 30 and these people were like, yeah, it's great. Don't move here though. Number 6. This will be happy. I bet you there's a guy in the chat room right now who does not agree with this. The number 6th best state in America for 2024 as voted on by somebody at U.S. News. Iowa, ladies and gentlemen. Iowa is the 6th best state in America. Iowa. Idaho comes in at number 5. Nobody wants to go to Idaho. What's in Idaho? Is it pretty? Is that it? Is it pretty? So it's a drive-through state. If it's pretty, then it's a drive-through state. Idaho comes in at number 5. Number 4 is Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota, nice checking in. Let me tell you something. You guys hear that? Listen. That's the dog licking her butt. Stop it! Stop! Hey! Oh my God! Oh, now you're done. You can wait to respond to me after you're done. Number 4 is Minnesota. So I was mean about New Orleans earlier today because it's. Today's New Orleans' birthday. New Orleans was founded on this day in, I don't know, let's say 1520. Who knows? Anyway, happy birthday, New Orleans. It's your birthday. And I was pretty mean on New Orleans. I don't get it. The music is noise. The food is burnt. The streets smell like pee. There's drunks everywhere. It's hot. It's humid. There's bugs. It's like the grossest part of the river. It is the butthole of the Mississippi River, the mighty Mississippi. That's where the poop comes out, right there in New Orleans. And for some reason, people are like, New Orleans is the greatest. You got long bridges. I don't like long bridges. Long bridges over water. And it's just like, I don't trust any of this shit. So that was my take on New Orleans earlier on the show. Minnesota. I love me some Minnesota. Minnesota. The whole world should be Minnesota as far as I'm concerned. Minnesota is wonderful. But, I like woods. I like woods and I like lakes. And I like cities that pop up in the middle of woods and lakes. And I like valleys. Minnesota has been rated the number 4 best state in America. And I can see why. It is a beautiful, beautiful part of the country. Let's see here. Number 3 on the list of best states. Nebraska. Okay. All right. I tell people I've been in Nebraska, but the truth is I just sat on an airplane on a runway in Lincoln for like an hour because we had to land for some reason. I don't know why we had to land for some reason. That should have been troubling, but I don't know. I sat there on the runway in Lincoln, Nebraska, and looked around, and since this is Nebraska, huh? Guess I've been in Nebraska. I didn't see, but I've been in Nebraska that time, and I didn't see anything. Number 2, how about New Hampshire? New Hampshire with the syrup. New Hampshire. Probably pretty, right? Probably pretty. Probably a lot like Vermont. I'm sure New Hampshire and Vermont are the same. I got no real take on New Hampshire. Utah comes in at number 1. That is the best state in America. Utah. I'll tell you this about Utah. It's just an observation that I've had over the years. Let me ask you this. Have you ever seen an ugly Mormon girl? Have you ever seen an ugly Mormon? Like, have you ever seen a Mormon girl and you've been like, oh, she's gross? It seems to me every time I see a Mormon girl, she's 6'2", blonde with giant, beautiful white teeth, blue eyes. They're all hot. They're all like Heather. They're all like Heathers. That's what they are. Whether it's Heather Thomas or Heather Locklear, that's what all Mormon girls look like. Actually, all Mormon girls look like Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively. That's it. That's what all Mormon girls look like. Even the ones they kidnapped. Remember that little Elizabeth Smart girl? She looked like that. She was just like this pretty blonde girl. She's all grown up now, and she's a TV reporter, and she's a pretty blonde girl now, too. She looks like a Mormon. She looks like... So there you go, Utah. Can't drink, but pretty girls to look at. Those are the 10 best states in America. Massachusetts, Florida, Washington, Vermont, Iowa, Idaho, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Hampshire, and Utah. There you have it, the 10 best states in America. Let's do the 10 worst. These are US. These are the ones that rank from 40 to 50. These are the 10 worst states in America. South Carolina. South Carolina comes in at number 41 on the list. I've been to South Carolina, and I disagree with this. Of course, I've never lived there. I don't know how that state is run, but I can tell you South Carolina is absolutely beautiful. What do they call it? The low country? What do they call it down there? Call it something. Number 42, worst state in America. There's another state that I love. I love this state. How dare you make it the 42 worst state in America? Michigan, ladies and gentlemen, comes in at 42, the worst state in America. I love Michigan. I love Michigan. Number 43 is Oklahoma. Oklahoma's fine. Like I said earlier, it's an ashtray, but does Oklahoma deserve to be this far down on the list? Number 44, the 44th worst state in America. You knew this one would be showing up somewhere in here. Alabama, IA. Alabama. Number 45 is Alaska, because why not? You knew Alaska had to be in there. It's like, what is like the shitty, what is the worst state you'd want? Alaska. Let's put Alaska in there. Alaska comes in at 45. 46th is West Virginia. Again, kind of saw that one coming. 47 is Arkansas. You absolutely saw that one coming. Number 48 is Mississippi. I think we can all agree. Saw that one coming. 49th worst state in America, as deemed by U.S. News, New Mexico. New Mexico is the 49th. It's the second to worst state in America. Now, New Mexico is gross. New Mexico is just really gross. I was in New Mexico. I spent about 4 days in New Mexico once, and it was just awful. It was like, this place is gross. Does the air always taste like this? The air tasted dirty. It just tasted dirty. Now, I was in Albuquerque, so, maybe you get out there in Taos or wherever. I don't know. Maybe it's beautiful. I did not think it was beautiful. I thought it was terrible. Number 1, the worst state in America. And maybe this has something to do with how passionate I am with my takedown. What are you doing, dog? The dog is now going places she's not supposed to. She's in a corner. She walked under the desk set up here that we record the show, and now she's trapped in a corner. She can't get out. You're probably going to see that Jordan jersey behind me start to get knocked around. She's laying on it. She's laying on the base to that stand. What are you doing back? Okay, come on. Come on, let's go. Dude. Oh, she got in, but she can't get out. So now she's looking at me like, I need help. No, go. Come on. Come on, go. Move it. Get out. You can go. You can do. Fine, stay there. She's going to stay there. Louisiana, ladies and gentlemen, is the worst state in America. Louisiana. It's on the birthday of New Orleans that we do this story. Adam Raina says, I went to South Carolina in 2010, and I've never felt more racism there than anywhere else. Yeah, you know, I didn't have that experience, but I'm a white guy. So, you know, maybe they were nice to me. It's a terrible, terrible way of looking at it. And yet the way we've looked at it in this country for hundreds of years, what are you doing? Are you going to stay there? You're not in trouble. Sorry, the dog is now hiding underneath my chair. You're not in trouble. You can stay there if you want. I'm just trying to figure out if you're stuck. Can't tell if she's stuck. She got herself into a position in a corner of the studio room here that is not easy to get into. And she took her some time and she maneuvered into it. And now I think she's trying to get out and she can't seem to figure out how to get out. You can see her. See, she's just laying on the ground between the chair and the wall, and she seems to be stuck. She's just laying there. She don't care. All right, there you have it. That's your best and your worst states. Hey, she made it. She got out. Very good. Good for her. All right. Here's what we're going to end with here today. We've got one more thing. And where does this come from? Is this Forbes? It's another list. We like to do lists here on the show. This is a list that is being called the new Ivies. All right. Actually, we don't need this one here. Or do we? Excuse me. Okay, so if you got kids, maybe you're thinking about sending them off to college if you can. I don't know. Hopefully you can. But we all know that there is a tier system with colleges in this country. We probably don't discuss it, but it's more impressive when your son goes to University of Texas than maybe West Louisiana State College of Veterinary. There are just certain schools, and at the very top of that are what's known as the Ivy League. These are the institutions that for hundreds of years in this country have churned out the greatest and the best minds. Now they're all on the East Coast, because it's the only place people used to be allowed to be educated at. So what are the Ivies? Let's see here. The Ivy Leagues. No. Here you go. Okay, so here is what the Ivy Leagues are. Well, what they call Ivy and Ivy Plus schools. Ivy Plus schools are schools that are not traditionally in the Ivy League conference, but they are every bit as good as the Ivy League schools. So after it says the original Ivy League schools and their plus schools are Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, Penn, Columbia, Dartmouth, and Cornell. Now the Ivy Plus schools are Stanford, MIT, Duke, and the University of Chicago. So those are considered like the groups. Those are the best colleges in America. Now, apparently there's some other good colleges too. So they've created a new list of schools that are every bit as good as Ivy League institutions, although sometimes they're a lot less expensive. Although don't kid yourself, every single one of the schools I'm about to mention is a very expensive school to go to. So these are called the new Ivies, okay? These are schools that are newer, or at least new to this list. Two of them here in Texas. Now there's two kinds of new Ivies. There's the new Ivies in the public category. These are public universities that are classified as new Ivies. And then there are private universities that are classified as new Ivies. So here are the public new Ivies. These are schools that are considered to be every bit as good as Harvard, Yale, Princeton, University of Chicago, MIT, whatever. Binghamton University. Binghamton University. Now, that's part of the State Colleges of New York system. But Binghamton University, I only know about it. They don't have any sports teams, but I only know about it because there's a lot of famous people who went there, mostly journalists and stuff like that. Georgia Institute of Technology is one of the new public Ivies. Is that Georgia Tech? Is that the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech? I don't know. Georgia Institute of Technology is one of the new public Ivies. How about University of Florida? University of Florida. That's a good school. Turns out that's a good school. I wouldn't have thought that's a good school. I mean, I don't know. It's a famous school for football and stuff, but I wouldn't think that it was a really good academic school. Apparently it is. University of Florida, considered one of the new public Ivies. University of Illinois at Champaign, also considered one of the new public Ivies. University of Maryland, College Park. University of Maryland, considered one of the new Ivies. University of Michigan, one of the new Ivies. University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, considered one of the new Ivies. And University of Texas at Austin, considered one of the new Ivies. What else? I'm sorry, there's two more. I got to scroll down. University of Virginia and the University of Wisconsin, Madison. Madtown represents. Look at that. I always say that, like, the University of Texas and University of Wisconsin are like the exact same place. Madison, Wisconsin, and Austin, Texas are like two of the same kinds of vibes. They're the exact same thing. The only difference is Madison, Wisconsin has 4 seasons. You can go snowmobile racing, in December in Madison, Wisconsin. Can't do that in Austin, but everything else is very similar. Music scene, bar scene, nightlife, all that stuff. Size of the school, gigantic schools. And now look, both of them are new Ivies. Very good state capitals, as well as being, the university campus. Private ones. Here are the new private Ivies. These are private schools who are now considered to be in the same league academically as the original Ivy League universities. Private Ivies being added to the list. Boston College gets added to the list. Carnegie Mellon University gets added to the list. Emory University gets added to the list. Georgetown University. Yeah, Georgetown already seems like it should have been one of them, right? I mean, Georgetown, everyone thinks Georgetown's a good school. Where'd your kid go? Georgetown? Okay. Johns Hopkins University. It's also one of the new private Ivies. Northwestern University, up there in Evanston, one of the new private Ivies. Rice University in Houston, one of the new private Ivies. And rounding out the list, no, it's not rounding out the list. University of Southern California, one of the new private Ivies. Vanderbilt University, one of the new private Ivies. And rounding out the list, one of the new private Ivies, University of Notre Dame. There you have it. New colleges. Can't just be thinking about the Ivy League. Apparently, there have been a whole bunch of good schools propping up while we were all dreaming about sending our kid to Harvard. I don't know. Do we? Do we all dream of sending our kid to Harvard? Or is that the kind of thing that we look at our kid and we know it's not a chance, so we spend, years going, that's only for egghead and wimpy kid or whatever, like bashing on people who go to Ivy League until your kid gets accepted to an Ivy League, and then you're like, my kid's going to Harvard. I think that's how I would be. But my kid's smart. My kid has never got. Well, I'm not gonna brag about my kid. They play football. They play football in the Ivy League. Oh man, that would be great if that's how my kid ended up getting a scholarship, just to play for some stupid Cornell. He's gonna go be an offensive guard at Cornell. Yeah, do it, kid. Get that free ride. Why not? We should be so lucky. But Dad, I want to play at UT. Nah. Well. Let's see here. Do we get any kind of update on April? April was at the hospital with her kids earlier today in the chat room, so I wanted to see if we had any kind of. But she seemed like it was pretty rudimentary, right? Like this is just a normal scheduled thing. It didn't. Did you guys get the impression that it was an emergency? I didn't get the impression that it was an emergency, or maybe I'm just choosing to go in the positive direction. Thank you once again today to Jameson. Jameson got us to where we needed to be, or at least he got us close to where we needed to be. It is Pledge Week here on the show. We are trying to, $150 is what we needed to raise between the next 2 shows. That's today and the end of show tomorrow. I don't know where we are. I haven't heard the thing go off, but maybe if you feel so inclined to support this kind of non-political radio, this kind of talk radio that is, Not like what is allowed on AM Talk Radio. That's how we do it. We've been doing it for 3 years. Drop a little something in the tip jar. I'll leave up the Venmo and the Cash App. Don't do PayPal. PayPal's too hard. I can't get the money out of PayPal. It's a whole thing. See how close we can get to our goal. We just need 150 more. So help us out. All right. What else is happening today? I don't know. Is there anything? I still haven't watched the Tom Brady roast. Love you, Adam. Still haven't. Hi, April. April's checking in. She's back in. All is good. Just an urgent care visit. Got him some meds. All right. That's urgent care. I mean, they call the place urgent care, so it sounds like, oh my God, it's urgent. You got so we're glad. We are glad. Everything is good. Oh, what is do we need to circle back on the Trump stuff? Was there anything good that happened here since we've been doing the show? Stormy Daniels is being cross-examined by the Trump trial. Okay. Is that like DP? Is that like she's I'm such an asshole. That was just such that was so stupid. Is there an opposite of that? Is there like that in reverse? All right, guys, that's going to do it. We're done. We're done with the show for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Again, like, follow, subscribe, do whatever you can. Support the show if you're so inclined. Spread the word to help us grow. We had a nice show today. I appreciate y'all stopping by. We'll be back again tomorrow at noon, 12 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. I run down all the hot takes, topics, headlines, current events, whatever it is. We do it every day at noon. Thank you for being here. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.